I want to start tonight with a question, and I want you to answer it honestly, in your own chest, before I go on. Think of the last 10 times you were hurt, not the great griefs, not the deaths, the ordinary hurts, the Sunday nobody called, the birthday they got too late or got to with a text, the visit that was shorter than you hoped, the thank you that never came for the thing you did, the invitation that never arrived. Now look at those 10 hurts honestly and ask yourself the question: how many of them were caused by what someone did to you, and how many were caused by the distance between what they did and what you expected them to do? Sit with that. Because when I finally sat with it, at an age when I should have known better, the answer broke something open in me. Almost none of my ordinary suffering was coming from other people's actions. It was coming from the gap. The gap between the phone call I expected and the phone call that came, between the gratitude I expected and the gratitude that arrived, between the family I had drawn in my mind and the family that actually existed. Other people were just living the way people live, imperfectly, distractedly, mostly thinking of themselves, the way I did too, if I am honest. And I was suffering, not from their living, but from my drawings. My beautiful, detailed, silent drawings of what everyone was supposed to do, drawings I never showed anyone but graded everyone against. Tonight I am going to teach you the oldest cure for the oldest ordinary suffering. Expect nothing from anyone. And before you decide that sounds cold or bitter or like giving up on people, stay with me to the end. Because it is the opposite of all three. It is the door to the warmest years of your life. I know, because I walked through it. Let me first show you what an expectation actually is in the old understanding, because we use the word carelessly. My grandmother called expectations silent contracts. She said, "Watch what people do. They write a contract in their heart. If I raise the children well, they will call me every week when they are grown. If I am generous with my brother, he will be there when I need him. If I sacrifice for this family will honor me." Detailed contracts, terms, payments, schedules. And then, she said, notice the strange part. They never show the contract to the other party. The son has never seen the contract that says call every Sunday. The brother has never seen the terms he is supposedly bound by. Nobody signed anything. And yet the person walks through their whole life collecting on these contracts and suffering every default and growing bitter over breaches of agreements that exist in exactly one place in the whole universe. Their own head. She said, "That is not a contract. That is a trap you built for yourself and baited with people you love. And every time one of them walks past it without stepping in it, because they cannot see it, because it is invisible, because you never told them, you feel betrayed. And they feel nothing at all. They are just living. You are the only one in the courtroom. You are the judge, the plaintiff, and the audience, and the person you are suing has never been served the papers. Let me show you a silent contract destroying a real family, because you will recognize this one. A woman I knew hosted Thanksgiving for 38 years. 38 years of the table, the days of cooking, the house full. And it was love. In the beginning it was pure love. But somewhere across those decades, a contract got written. The contract said, because I do all of this, they will keep coming. Forever. All of them. This is the family's heart, and I am its keeper, and they owe this gathering their presence. And then life did what life does. A granddaughter married into a family 2 states away and began alternating years. A son's wife wanted to start hosting her own. Numbers that had been 18 became 11, became 9. And this woman, this genuinely loving woman, began to suffer in a way that frightened her family. Because to her, the shrinking table was not logistics, it was breach. breach of a contract nobody else knew existed, and her suffering came out the only way unspoken contracts ever come out: sideways. The guilt-laced comments in October phone calls, the wounded sighs, the comparisons. Well, your cousin manages to come. And do you know what the guilt did? What guilt always does? It made the table smaller. Because her children began to dread the holiday, not the gathering itself, the accounting around it, the annual audit of their love conducted over turkey. One of her sons told me, standing in my yard, we stopped going home for Thanksgiving and started reporting for it. Hear that sentence. Reporting for it. 38 years of love, curdled into obligation by an invisible contract, and the woman could not see that the contract itself was the thing emptying her table. The gathering she was trying to force into permanence was dying of the forcing. Nobody in that story is wicked. Not her, not the children. That is what makes silent contracts so destructive. They ruin families without requiring a single villain. Just one person collecting on paperwork nobody signed, and a family slowly backing away from the collections office. And I will tell you the ending, because this story has a good one, and it teaches the cure before I even name it. Somebody finally told her, gently. Her oldest friend, a woman with the standing to say it, sat with her one January and said, "They are not leaving your table. They are leaving the bill that comes with it." And it broke her heart. And then it opened it. And the next fall, she did the bravest thing I ever saw a matriarch do. She called each of her children and said some version of this: "Come if it feeds you. Stay home if that is what your family needs this year. Either way, you are loved the same, and I mean it, and there will be a plate or there won't, and both are fine." And she meant it. That was the miracle. She actually meant it. You cannot fake this. Families can smell a fake release the way they can smell rain. And do you know what happened over the next 3 years? The table grew back. Not to 18. Life had genuinely moved. Some of the shrinking was just the river. But 11 became 14. People began coming who had been finding reasons not to, because the audit was over. The gathering was a gift again, in both directions. Freely offered, freely attended. She spent her last Thanksgivings at a full, warm, unowed table, and the only thing she had changed was the paperwork. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever, and most of what I know was never written anywhere. So I sat down and I wrote it. All of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about the silent contracts and how to burn them. The ones about loving people as they are instead of as they owe you. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called The Native Way, and it costs less than 1 dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments. But do not leave yet, because I am about to tell you what actually happens when you burn the contracts, and it is not the cold, lonely life you fear. It is the exact opposite, and I have watched it happen too many times to doubt it. Now let me answer the fear, because I can hear it from here. You are thinking, but if I expect nothing, doesn't that mean I stop caring? Doesn't that mean I let people treat me any way they like? Doesn't that make me a doormat with no standards at all? No, and this distinction is the heart of the whole teaching, so lean in. There is a difference between expectations and boundaries. They feel similar, and they are opposites. A boundary is about what you will accept into your life. I will not be spoken to that way. I will not lend money I cannot lose. I will not host people who bring chaos into my home. Boundaries are walls around your own territory, and you enforce them yourself, with your own actions, your own feet, your own no. You need boundaries until your last day, and everything I have ever taught about them still stands. But an expectation is not a wall around your territory. An expectation is a demand on someone else's territory. It is you deciding how another free human being is supposed to feel, call, visit, thank, remember, love. And here is the difference that matters. A boundary you can enforce. An expectation you can only suffer. When someone crosses a boundary, you act, you leave the room, you end the call, you close the door. Power stays in your hands. When someone falls short of an expectation, there is nothing to do but hurt, because the whole event happened inside your own head. So hear the teaching precisely. Keep every boundary, burn every expectation, guard your territory completely, and release your claim on everyone else's. That is not becoming a doormat. That is finally putting your soldiers on your own land, where they can actually win, instead of scattering them across other people's countries, where they can only die. And let me make the distinction concrete, because abstractions do not survive family dinners. Your daughter speaks to you sharply, in a tone you will not accept. That is boundary territory. You say calmly, "I love you, and I will not be spoken to that way." And if it continues, you end the visit, and you have acted, and your dignity is intact, and the power never left your hands. Now the other case. Your daughter does not call for 3 weeks. That is expectation territory. There is no boundary to enforce because she has not entered your land at all. She has simply lived her own life at a distance you did not choose. You cannot act on that. You can only ache on it or release it. Do you see the line now? If it happens on your ground, at your table, in your ears, to your face, boundary. Enforce it kindly and firmly until your last day. If it happens in the territory of their freedom, their calls, their visits, their choices, their gratitude, their love, expectation, and expectations are the bills you burn. One sentence to keep. Govern your land. Free the rest. So what actually happens when you do this? Let me tell you, change by change, because I lived it. The first thing that happens is that your ledger closes. You did not even know you were keeping a ledger, but you were. Every person in your life has an account in it. What you have done for them, what they have done for you, the balance, always the balance. Who called last? Who visited last? Who gave more? 50 years of bookkeeping, running day and night in the back of your mind, and it is exhausting, and it poisons everything, because you cannot love someone freely while you are billing them. The day you expect nothing, the ledger closes. And what you did for people stands, finally, as what it always should have been. Gifts. Given freely, complete the moment you gave them, owing you nothing back. And I want to tell you what that feels like, because I remember the week it landed in me. It feels like retiring from a job you did not know you had. The accounting department in your head goes dark. And all that attention, all that energy that was spent tracking balances comes home, and you spend it noticing your actual life instead of auditing it. The second thing that happens is stranger and more beautiful. People start to surprise you. Hear the logic of it, because it is perfect. When you expect everything, nothing anyone does can ever be more than what was owed. Your son calls on Sunday. Well, that is what sons do. The contract is merely being serviced. No joy, just a box checked. He misses a Sunday, and there is pain. Do you see the trap? Expectation converts everything good into mere payment, and everything else into breach. You have built a life where the best possible outcome is zero. The day you expect nothing, the whole machine runs in reverse. Now the Sunday call is not a payment. It is a gift. It came out of nowhere, unowed, freely given, and you feel it the way you felt unexpected kindness as a child. Now the visit is an event. Now the thank you lands like rain on dry ground. Nothing about the other people changed. Hear me, nothing about them changed. The same sun, the same calls, the same family. But you tore up the invoice, so everything that arrives is suddenly a present instead of a payment. I watched my own days transform this way. The same life, the same people, and suddenly I was a man receiving gifts all week instead of a creditor reviewing payments. Gratitude is not something you force. All the modern talk of gratitude gets this backwards. Gratitude is simply what you feel when things arrive unowed. Expectations are the machine that makes everything owed. Break the machine, and gratitude comes back on its own, like feeling returning to a limb. And the third thing that happens is the one I most want you to hear, because it concerns the people you love. When you expect nothing from them, they feel it. They cannot name it, but they feel it. The weight comes off the relationship. Understand, your expectations were never as invisible as you thought. The people close to you have been feeling them for years, the way you feel a low ceiling even in the dark. The subtle audit in your voice when they finally call. Where have you been? The sigh. The scorekeeping they could sense but never quite see. It made being around you feel, just faintly, like being behind on a bill. And people avoid their creditors. Not because they do not love them, because nobody relaxes in the collections office. The day the expectations die, the ceiling lifts. Visits stop feeling like installment payments. Your door becomes a place where nothing is owed, and I am telling you what happens next because I have watched it in my own house. They come more, not less, more. The thing you were trying to force with the contracts, the closeness, the calls, the presence, starts arriving on its own, freely, once the force is gone. Because it turns out people run from debts and walk toward gifts. You could not collect your way into their hearts, but the man who wants nothing from you is the easiest man in the world to love. Become him and watch your table fill. So how do you actually do this? One practice, my grandmother's, and it is small and it is everything. Each time you catch the sting, the Sunday sting, the unthanked sting, the shorter visit sting, stop and find the contract underneath it. Say it out loud to yourself in plain words. I expected him to call today. I expected them to stay longer. I expected to be thanked for that. Just naming it does half the work, because spoken aloud, the contracts sound like what they are, demands nobody agreed to. And then say the release. She taught me these words and I say them still, some weeks daily. They are free. I release them. I keep the love. I burn the bill. And then, and this is the important part, do something kind for yourself in that moment. The walk, the tea, the call to a friend who feeds you, so the energy that was about to be spent on hurt gets spent on your own territory instead. That is the whole practice. Catch the sting, name the contract, burn the bill, tend your land. Do it for a season and you will find what I found. That most of what you called being hurt by people was being hurt by paperwork. And a man with no paperwork, sitting on his porch, expecting nothing, owed nothing, keeping his boundaries and burning his bills, that man is not cold. He is the freest, warmest, most surprising to love person in the whole territory. And every single person watching this can become him by spring. One last thing, because I want to leave this exactly where my grandmother left it with me. I asked her once, near the end of her life, whether expecting nothing ever made her sad, whether it felt like lowering her hopes for people. And she looked at me the way she looked when I had missed the center of a thing, and she said, "Grandson, you have it upside down." Expecting nothing from people is not thinking less of them. It is the only way to see them at all. As long as I expected, I was looking at my drawing of the person. I measured them against it, argued with them through it, loved and resented a picture. The day I put the drawing down, the actual person was standing there, older than my drawing, stranger than my drawing, more tired, more scared, more kind, more surprising than my drawing. My children became interesting to me again the day they stopped owing me anything, because I finally met them. And she said the sentence I want to close with tonight. She said, "An expectation is a wall with a picture of the person painted on it. Take down the wall, lose the picture, meet the person. They have been standing behind your drawing of them, some of them, for 40 years, waiting for you to see them. Go see them. Expect nothing. Receive everything. That is the whole trade, and it is the best one this life offers." If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way, 20 teachings, 100 pages, written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read one chapter. Sit with it. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what is the one silent contract you have been carrying the longest, and are you ready to burn it? I read every comment. And if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.